Okay, we're going to start on our backs. Just to get into our bodies to begin with. So find a space that feels comfortable for you. If you want to take a bolster underneath your legs just to support your lower back, then please go ahead and do that. I am today. Just allowing yourself to come into really easy, calm, restful position on your back. Have your hands wherever you feel comfortable. Have your legs in whatever position feels good. If you need to take your feet flat on the floor and have your knees bent, your hips bent, go ahead and do that. If you can lay comfortably flat, outstretched, just be in a space that allows you to be really comfortable and at ease. And just start to really pay attention to the exhale. Notice if there's any holding in the body as you breathe out, and really use the out breath as a way to soften and surrender the physical body. And I want you to pay particular attention to the upper part of your torso. Let's say from just underneath the breasts, all the way up to the crown of the head. We're going to really be focusing on the upper body tonight. So as you allow those breaths to escape, first thing I want you to really encourage is a full emptying. Often we only exhale partly, we don't fully expel all of the carbon dioxide and we hold it. We're not quite fully emptying. So I want you to really invite a complete draw out of all of that carbon dioxide through the exhale. Give yourself a couple of breaths, maybe 3 or 4, where you really kind of squeeze it out. When you get to the end of the exhale, keep on breathing out because I'm sure there will still be a little bit left to go. And notice the effort and the constriction and the contraction that's required through the diaphragm, through the abdomen, that real squishiness of the lower rib cage drawing in to get rid of all of that breath. Once you've had a few rounds of breath, really consciously emptying the lungs, just allow the breath to return to a natural rhythm, but notice if now you are naturally elongating the out breath. And I want you to start paying attention to all of the intricate muscles, soft tissues, the connective tissue, the fascia, the ligaments, the tendons around your face. Let's start with the crown of the head and the forehead. Notice if you're squeezing, holding, gently tensing any of the muscles there in the top of the head and the forehead. And then in the eyes, Noticing if the eyelids are closed with effort. See if you can just maybe even stretch the eyes and the eyelids, lift the eyebrows, and then just softly, softly close the lids. And then through the cheeks, through your jaw, teeth, throat. We excessively use energy through this process of holding, through tensing, contracting muscles, usually quite intricate, small, delicate muscles. But overuse and over long periods of time of excessively using them, we start to present the risk of causing injury and pain syndromes in these areas. And we wonder where it came from, because there's been no acute injury, but it's just been caused from excessive holding, excessive clenching, excessive tensing, holding the shoulders up, frowning, closing the eyes too tight, grinding the teeth, clenching the jaw, not speaking our truth, lacking fluidity around the freedom of our throat through our breath and our voice. I woke up this morning feeling really, really tense in this whole area. And so instead of doing my yoga practice, I just laid in bed and did some yin yoga and some gentle massage and stretching just to release through this space. So I thought I'd share some of that practice with you today. I think in light of all of what's going on at the moment, and the frustration and uncertainty and the fear, I think a lot of us are holding a lot of tension through our shoulders and our heart space and our throat and our jaw. A lot of excessive thinking through the mind, causing tension there as well. Let's give yourself 3 more big breaths. And then we're going to come up into a seat. So just really taking your time. Just muster enough energy to roll over onto your side to begin with. And then whenever you feel ready to make your way up into a seat, just finding length in your spine. I would encourage you to elevate your sit bones onto a cushion or bolster. I'm just going to start gently arranging through the neck. So dropping your left ear to your left shoulder. If you want to take your hand down, your right hand down underneath your bottom or underneath your cushion, whatever you're sitting on, and just use that as a bit of a lever, a bit of an anchor for that right shoulder to stay down, so that you can find space from the right earlobe away from the right shoulder tip, just stretching into the right side of the neck, your left ear down towards your left shoulder. And while we're here, just doing these really gentle stretches through the neck, throat, the back of the head, and we'll do some massage around the jaw and face as well with our hands. Just really start to find some fullness in the breath. Really breathe in with intention. Feel the expansion and puffiness through the chest, and then give yourself really deep full breaths out to completely empty. While you're breathing deeply, we're going to start to drop the chin. So you're going to turn your chin down towards your left shoulder now, and you'll feel the position of that stretch in the right side of the neck start to shift. And then sweep your chin down towards the center so that it's looking down towards your chest. Let both hands be rested on your lap. And then slowly draw your head up back to a neutral position. And then just take a moment to really notice the difference now in the right side of the neck compared to the left. And then we'll take it to the other side. So we're going to drop the right ear to the right shoulder, stretching into the left side of the neck. If you wish to take your left hand down underneath your cushion or your bottom, just to anchor that left arm down and really give yourself some space, stretching into the left side of the neck. Big, full breaths. And then you're going to drop your chin down towards the right shoulder to begin with, just for 1 or 2 breaths. And then really slowly ranging through the back of the neck as you drop the chin to the chest. Both hands resting on your lap or on your thighs. And then bringing the head up to a neutral position. And then we're just going to do some circular motion. So drop left ear to left shoulder. Roll the head down towards the front of the body. Roll up to the right ear to right shoulder. And then if you can, a gentle rolling of the head backwards. We're just going to roll the head around 5 times in this direction. Maybe you want to start bringing in some little shoulder lifts and shrugs and stretches through the shoulders and the chest as well. So you start to kind of overstretch and over move. So it's not just the head moving. And then we'll take it the other way. If you need to take a moment just to reset in the center, give yourself a big breath. And then drop the right ear to the right shoulder and roll the chin down to the center, rolling back up to the left and all the way around the back. When you finish those 5 little head rotations, come back to the center. You're going to take your thumbs and place them underneath your jaw. You kind of find your earlobes and then follow the jawline. So you've got the big bony prominence, the side of, or the base of the jaw. You're going to hook your thumbs underneath there. It's going to be quite tender. You're going to find this muscle underneath the jaw. And then just start to gently sweep your thumbs forward to come all the way down to your chin. And you're just giving yourself a little massage. You might find some spots in there that you want to dig your thumbs under. It does not feel very nice. Maybe you just find some little points and you just press underneath. It's totally fine if you lift your chin a little. You might want to range back, so sliding underneath and back again. It's parts of our body, like imagine how much these muscles work for us in the way that we talk, in the way that we chew and eat and swallow, that we're constantly moving. All of these muscles are in our throat, in our mouth, and our jaw. I wonder if any of you have ever done this. I'm doing it a fair bit lately because I've started singing lessons actually, and this is one of the things I'm supposed to do every time before I sing, and it's quite painful. I'm like, oh yeah, of course. Like we massage other parts of our body, but we don't ever really do this. Now you're going to bring your peace fingers, so letting that go. I'm just going to move closer to the camera so you can see. You're going to get your peace fingers and find your cheekbones, and you're going to press up along the upper part of your jaw now. So you'll feel where your jaw interlocks. For me, it's right in here. And you're going to press into there, push back, and then press up underneath the jaw. You'll find some spots that are probably quite tender. All the way up to the corner of your nose. And then just sliding down to the corners of your mouth. Might feel a bit funny. I look a bit funny. And then come back up to the corner of that jaw, so wedging in, holding that point. So I'm right in the corner of where I can't go any further. It's stuck because that's my jaw joint. And then open and close your mouth. I'm not feeling too bad because my chiropractor kindly stuck her fingers in my mouth the other day and released all of that for me. So painful. And then just stretching and massaging underneath that top jaw, back to the corner of your nose, down to the corners of your mouth. Great. Just take a hold of your earlobes and pull them down. Just give them a little stretch. Nice work. Right, now we're going to come down onto our back. We're going to take a block. If you don't have a block, a trigger point ball, a tennis ball, or a golf ball, a big fat book. So it needs to be quite hard. We're going to take the block. I'm just going to turn around so that you can see. So your skull lands, and there's this ridge across the back of your skull, and all of the muscles in your neck and from your shoulders come up and all intersect and connect to this bone, this occipital ridge. And it's often a point of tension, headaches for a lot of people. If you range your fingers across the back there, for me, I had these two spots that's so tender. And if I press hard enough, I get referred pain. It shoots straight up into my temples. So we're going to use the block or ball or book, whatever you have. Take it underneath the back of your head, and you are going to use it to find some points that you can stick your apparatus into, to range through and start to break down some of the tension points in the back of the neck. If you suffer from headaches or migraines, or you have a lot of stiffness through your trapezius, through the upper shoulder muscles, this is a really great little release to do. It can be super painful. I know this is not an overly relaxing way to start your yin practice, but I think it's important. Often I feel whatever I'm feeling in my body is usually a reflection of what might be being experienced in yours. And so I have no doubt that this is supporting you in some way. Not least of all because we are definitely more sedentary at the moment in the way of being at home for most of us. And so posturally, we're a little more challenged. All of these muscles are affected. If you find spots in there that feel really tender, then just place and rest on that spot and give yourself some really big deep breaths. It's like having a trigger point massage therapist when they hold those really horrid spots. And over time, tension slowly starts to dissipate. Give yourself 5 more breaths doing this practice, just moving, stretching, rolling across the back of the head. And then just slowly releasing, laying your whole back flat on the floor. And just give yourself 5 really big full breaths. Every exhale inviting that softness, particularly through the face and the jaw and the neck. And then we're going to come into a heart opener. If you have a block, I would prefer you use the block for this. If you don't, then a cushion, bolster, etc. will be okay. I want this to go right in the center of your back. We're going to go alongside if you have a block, where the top of the block is in line with the top of the shoulder blades, and it's just resting straight in the middle. Otherwise, a bolster across lengthways or a cushion will do the same job, just making sure it's up underneath the shoulder blades and not down in the lower back. If you need a block underneath your head, then just have it there just in case. So you're laying down over the block, and ideally the back of the head is coming down to the floor, so you get a little bit of space through the front of the throat, and this intention of really opening up through the thoracic spine. You're going to take your arms out wide, palms facing up. If you are feeling too exposed through the throat and it's a real challenge for you to get your head down to the floor, then a block underneath your head or something underneath the head will take all of that effort out of the extension through the cervical spine. And then if you wish, you're pretty open through, particularly under the shoulder blades and underneath the armpits, and you want to clasp your hands and reach your arms up overhead for a little bit more extension and openness through the chest, you can do that. It might feel a little bit too much, might be plenty for you just to have your arms stretched out to the sides. And just noticing every time you settle into each shape where you're holding tension, really noticing those patterns of holding. Most of us will have chronic holding patterns that are unconscious, they're just ingrained into our daily lives and our bodies. It's in these kinds of practices where we really get to notice, breathing fully, deeply, letting the out breath carry away any tension, keeping the jaw soft. I still have quite a lot of lingering sensation through my face and my jaw after that gentle massage through the jawline, which feels really nice. It can be really nice in any of your poses at any time to just use your hands and fingers to massage and press and stroke and rub parts of your body. So if your body's feeling like it needs a little bit of extra TLC tonight, then just allow yourself to do whatever you need to do. Our bodies are designed to be touched. We have this incredible nervous system in our skin, so sensitive to touch. It feels really nice just to love on your body, touch and nourish yourself and massage yourself and really explore parts of your body that you wouldn't normally touch or that wouldn't normally be touched by somebody else as well. Give yourself 2 final big breaths. And to come out of this pose, just take your right foot, place it flat on the floor, and then roll over to your left side. Move whatever you had supporting your spine out of the way and come and lay flat on your back. Just lengthen out through the back of the neck so the chin slightly draws towards the chest. Let the shoulders settle down away from the ears. Just notice if there is beginning to be a softening happening in the body compared to when you first tuned into this upper part of the torso and the head, neck, and shoulders. I definitely feel like there is a little bit more space, a little less holding, more softness, which feels nice. And we are going to roll over onto our tummy. We're going to come into a shoulder stretch that allows us to stretch through the back of the shoulder. I'll just show you what this looks like without any support to begin with. We're just going to do one arm at a time. So I'm going to take my left arm under my body. So you're going to lift your chest up, take your left arm under, and then you can see that my arm is literally over or under, sorry, my boobs. You don't want your arm up really high and you don't want it down underneath your body. You want to take it straight out so that you'll see my elbow is pretty much underneath my shoulder or underneath my armpit of the right arm. And then I'm just laying down over the arm and I've got my fist to support my forehead. This can be super challenging if you're really tight. You might be quite up and the chest is quite elevated and you can't quite get flat to lay down. Try and keep the shoulder back so you're not taking it so far away from you. You want to keep it back so that the shoulder is still in alignment and you're literally laying over it. If that's impossible for you, taking a little cushion or bolster underneath your chest will give you some elevation so that you don't have to squash so low down, but you might then need a block or another cushion underneath your forehead, just because your head won't reach the floor if you have a cushion up underneath you. And actually for me, even though I have full capacity to lay flat down over my arm, I'm actually getting a nicer feeling stretch with my chest slightly elevated. It's kind of pulling more through the muscle and the anterior deltoid of that shoulder as opposed to really compressing the joint. So just play around with the position, see what works best for you. We won't be here for too long. Normally we hold poses for around 5 minutes or more. This one we're just going to stay for about 2.5 to 3 minutes. So if you can, once you're settled in whatever expression of this pose you're finding, just let your feet be long, resting back and floppy so the heels are kind of falling out to the side. Let your belly be soft. Really allow your chest to curl and round over the shoulder and the bolster. Give yourself a final breath here. And then release out. If you can, come and lay flat on your tummy. Just take your arms flat on the floor and your forehead rest on the back of your hands. And just give yourself 3 or 4 breaths here. If you need to, for a moment, just take your arms behind you and completely allow your body to rest flat on the floor, just to really surrender the shoulders. Go ahead and do that for a moment. If you're feeling okay and you feel ready, you can move straight onto the other side. So we're going to take the right arm and sweep it under. You might find that one side you have more range of motion and more joint mobility than the other. So perhaps you need more or less support on this side. Just making sure that your shoulder remains in alignment. You're not taking the shoulder and wrapping it underneath the body, keeping it stacked. And then your hand, your right hand is reaching straight out towards the left. You're pretty much just laying straight over that arm. And then finding as much softness in your hips and your bottom and your legs as possible. Just notice if this pose is a little challenging, if you've lost the capacity to fully empty and surrender the breath. Just give yourself some really great opportunities to completely empty, let all the breath escape. And just 3 more breaths here. Slowly come out. Just rest your hands on the floor, your forehead on the back of your hands. 3 breaths. It's just a soft way to release the shoulder without taking it too far away from that position that it was in, where there was a lot of compression through the joint. And then take the arms beside your body if you can, laying flat on your chest, head down to the floor. Then we're going to make our way back. We're going to come into kind of a high child's pose, so not necessarily sitting right down over your heels. We're going to take the bottom up a little bit Take the arms out and try and sink the heart down. So we're not quite up in a puppy pose where the hips are stacked over the knees and you're dropping fully. And we're not sitting right back, kind of halfway in between. Just a really gentle invitation into opening up through the chest and the heart. If it feels nice for you to go into full puppy, then go ahead and do that. If you also prefer to just be right down in a child's pose and that gives you enough of a shoulder stretch, then please just move into whatever feels nice for you. I'm kind of going halfway tonight. I want you to take your hands wide. Mine are pretty much off my mat, so my fingers, almost my thumbs are off the edges of the mat, just to create some space through the shoulders. And then dropping down, you may rest your forehead on the floor, may rest your chin. If it's not reaching at all and you want some support for your head, take something under your head, a cushion or a block. Then slowly make your way up into a tabletop position, stacking your knees over your your hips over your knees and your shoulders over your wrists. And then just start to move through some cat-cow stretches, but just invite any movement into that space that feels good. So if you want to roll through your head, drop your chin to your chest. If you want to take some sideways movement, if you want to move back and forward from child's pose to a sort of semi-plank, just finding whatever movement you need to roll through and nourish through the shoulders and the chest and the neck. And then we're going to come all the way back down onto our tummy. We're going to come into a shoulder stretch that allows us to open up through the whole front line of the chest. It's going to stretch from the sternum, bony chest plate, all the way across the top of the breast and into the front of the shoulder, maybe even down through your bicep. So to do this, we're going to lay flat on the tummy and take the right arm out on the side so that the hand is in line with the shoulder. So that's the first step. Palm is facing down. If you can see my palm there. Palm is facing down, hand is in line with the shoulder. We're then going to roll. I'm going to lose my microphone, I think. We're going to roll over onto the right hip. So you're going to keep your knees together, bend your knees, draw your feet up towards the ceiling, and then take your feet to the floor and roll over onto your hip, so that you're practically laying on the right side of your body, almost like in a little fetal position, but that right arm is stretched behind you. I'm just going to do it the other way so that you can see what I'm looking like from the other side. So you'll have your left hand in front of the chest, keeping that left shoulder pulled back and stretching through the front of the right shoulder. If you're finding you don't have the range of motion through the shoulder to be able to fully lay on your side, maybe you're just kind of half lifting that left hip off the ground. As long as you're getting a little bit of a stretch through the front of that right shoulder, and it is enough. And again, we won't be here for too long. So rolling back onto your tummy. Bringing both arms beside the body as you lay flat on your belly. Give yourself a couple of centering breaths here. And then we'll take it to the opposite side. So left arm reaches out, right hand comes onto the floor beside your right breast, and then you'll roll over onto your left side body. I tend to feel this more in my bicep than actually through the chest, but it's all connected to the same fascial line. So at a fascial level, the connective tissue, I'm still nourishing that entire fascial network because it's all interlinked. Just 3 more breaths here. And you release back onto your belly, really slowly taking the arm behind you, flat onto your tummy, arms beside the body. And slowly making your way up into a seat. I won't be up on the seat for too long. We're just going to take a little opportunity to stretch through the side body in a little really slow dynamic flow of movement. You're going to take your left hand down to the floor and just lift the right arm up and overhead and really try and press the right rib cage away from you as you take that right arm over, creating as much shape and curvature from that right hip to the right hand as possible. And give yourself a big breath in. And then start to turn your chest towards that left thigh, but keep reaching over and away from you as much as you can. And then come all the way back up to that side stretch. And all the way back up to center and then to the other side. We're just stretching into left side body, creating a big C shape, curving through the lateral line. And then starting to shift your torso to face the right thigh. Keep reaching that arm away from you. You should feel this down the lats, underneath the armpit and down the side body. And then pull it back into that side stretch. And all the way back up. Clasp your hands behind you. Interlock your fingers. Open out through the chest. Take a little gaze up to the sky. And stay in that open position as you drop your chin to your chest. Keep squeezing the shoulders and the back of the body, and then release the hands. Take hold of your knees, right hand to right knee, left hand to left knee, and really bucket out through your belly and your chest. Drop your chin to your chest and press the back of the body away from you like you're in a cow pose on your hands and knees. Really curling through the back line of the body. Stretch into any little parts there that need a little bit of extra stretch. Coming up into an upright position. Give yourself a big breath. Let all the breath go. And come and lay flat on your back into your final resting pose. Make sure you're warm, jumper on, blanket if you've got one close by. Or if you're going to be experiencing what I am, but there's this real sense of energization through my body, and I can feel a lot of energy moving. It's like I've kind of unlocked something that was sort of quite stuck and stagnant. Definitely feels like there's a little bit more freedom in the body and a little bit more softness. So as you come onto your back, just give yourself a moment to just tune in, to notice the effects and the impact of the poses and the practice on the body. I didn't focus so much on breath awareness or mindfulness or philosophy tonight. It was really just an invitation to try and move through and stretch and nourish these intricate muscles and connective tissue through the chest, the shoulders, the throat, and the face, which do so much for us and get very little love and care and attention. As you settle into your final resting pose, give yourself a few deep breaths. Begin to notice your breath. And notice any sensations in the body. Notice the weight of your body resting on the floor. And begin to gently invite some movement into the body if you're feeling ready to get up and carry on with your evening. Make your way up into a seat. Bring your hands to your heart as you take a full breath in. And let all the breath go completely empty. Bowing head to heart. And gentle honoring to yourself. Namaste. Thank you all for practicing with me, and I wish you a beautiful sleep. You carry yourselves off to bed. I invite you to stay off your phones, devices, etc. And just set yourself in the right tone for a beautiful, hopefully very restful sleep.
Night. Thank you. Good night.
Good night.